We talk about the markets this week, putting a focus on the cattle side of things. Joining us at his feed yard, welcomed us out here, Mike Briggs from Briggs Feed Yard near Seward. Good to see you as always, sir.
It's been a while. Nice to see you.
It has. Last time you and I talked, we were going into the summer months back in May. You described yourself as cautiously optimistic. Things were looking good. Then August hit. What happened, Mike?
That's kind of a seasonal deal. Everybody knows that. Typically, we take a bigger dip in July than what we did. We kind of got through that in pretty good shape. But boy, after Labor Day, which is your last big beef holiday, it usually does a header. And it's kind of done exactly that. Cash is off. I think, I should have looked at my numbers, but I think we did a high of 315, 317 there in the beef. And we've dropped it all the way back to 287 last week. So that's a pretty big break. Hopefully we can hang in here and not go much lower. I think it's going to be a little bit, but our seasonal, after we get through September, is to go up into the end of the year, and I think we got a chance at that.
Okay, well, speaking toward the end of the year, we're halfway through the 2024. Beyond that, people starting to talk about herd rebuilding as we'll get the number coming out in January of where USDA pegs things at. But you look at the data, cattle on feed report, for example, all indications are we're not rebuilding the herd.
No.
Why is that?
You know, that's a great question. I've been told, ranchers don't keep high-priced heifers. They keep the cheap heifers. The ranchers have had 3 or 4 really tough years because of drought. Now, they were also getting pretty good prices for their cattle, but it's been pretty tough, and they're making a lot of money right now, and they deserve it. I wish I was a new pickup salesman because there are going to be a lot of new pickups sold, but I think that's the biggest reason is they need cash because they've had so many bad years, and they don't want to keep those high-priced heifer calves. They want to get rid of them. So I think that's a lot of it. Now, the one thing we've seen is a serious slowdown in the cow kill. So that's helped us out a little bit. We're not getting smaller, at least. We're kind of leveling out, but I don't see herd rebuilding. And your cattle on feed figures don't show any rebuilding because we've still haven't got under 100% on feed.
One of the things I wanted to bring up to you, because it seems like we talk about this every time in context of cattle markets, is economic factors, external things that are impacting the producer. If we look at demand, though, it doesn't seem like the producer is being impacted when it comes to what they're buying at the grocery store.
It's amazing to me. We as an industry never thought people would pay this much, and we've seen such a dramatic amount of inflation, and I feel bad for the consumer. I've never wanted beef to get to the point where it comes out of people's diets. And I think to some extent we've gotten there, but we've stayed in here a lot better than I thought we would. So demand has hung in here through this. So it's been great from that standpoint.
Right now visiting here in September, time to get the silage chopper going, wet corn too. Let's talk about feed prices. We're looking at record production across the nation when it comes to corn. How are you going to be looking at prices? Has to be kind of an optimistic area for you going into the next year.
It is so, I know all farmers out there will grimace, but it is so nice to get these feed costs down to where we can get our cost of gains back down under $1. That's going to be very beneficial for us in the feed yard industry because that's how we make money, putting it on cheaper than we sell it. We're going to take in about everything we can take, and we're going to put up a lot of silage because I'm not saying the corn is at a low, but we're pretty darn close. And I think whenever we do get that low, which is probably after the gut slot harvest, I think it'll just start grinding its way higher because around the world, things aren't that great. Things are pretty good here, but around the world, things aren't great. So I think we're going to try to take advantage of that while we can.
What's your outlook on the next 12 months, filling the pens behind us and just in general, I guess, feedlots? Are they going to be able to keep things full?
I don't think so, but that's the interesting thing, and we were having this discussion on the conference call, and I've had this with my brokers, been kind of upset, and I was wrong because I didn't do my research. Why we broke as hard as we broke, I just don't get it. Here you are, we've got fundamentals, they're not paying attention to fundamentals. Yeah, they are, because we haven't gotten under 100% cattle on feeding, and until we do that, why should the market go up? We've got just as many cattle. We've slaughtered less cattle than we did last year as a whole. But last week, which was a short week because of Labor Day, we actually slaughtered more than we did last year, and they're bigger. So we're putting pounds on the market like nobody's business. So until we get the pounds down, which I don't think that's going to change, especially with cheaper feed, but until we get numbers down, this market doesn't need to go anywhere. And I got once again commend the packers. They've managed supply very well, and they've got themselves back into a profitable position. So things, as far as they're concerned, are great. But I don't think this thing is going to just take off and rocket until we see cattle on feed numbers get down. I don't know when that is. Now it shows we're going to have kind of a hole in December and January because placements were down this summer, but I think we might see, it'll be interesting to see what we see for placements in August.
Well, the reports that came out, we got a viewer question about this, shows that Mexican feeder cattle imports up 27% year over year. They were high last year at this point. Why is that?
Well, you've got a drought in Mexico, and so they're moving the cattle this way. There's a lot of demand for feeder cattle right now because there's not a lot of them around. So that's what's made the whole Texas feeding industry. If Mexico, if they put a wall up and ban feeder cattle, the Texas feeding industry is going to have a problem. So that's just kind of what they feed.
Give me your outlook as we look to the next 3-4 months in front of us. Where are live and feeder cattle heading?
Well, like I said, we're gonna kind of go down here for a little bit. Our season will start sometime in October, where we usually go up into the end of the year. Hopefully we get back to the prices we're at in June. I don't know if we can, because once again, that depends on supply and demand, but I think we got a pretty good chance to get back up towards the highs by the end of the year, and I think that'll be pretty beneficial for everybody. At some point, I wish I knew what it was. I don't know when it is. Maybe it's May next year, but eventually we'll get these cattle on feed numbers down, and you might see fat cattle get dramatically higher. It's just a matter of if you have any of them.